Introducing me. I have been a teacher I'm in my 18th year of teaching. I started in Gen Ed, and I taught Gen Ed for 13 years. I taught pre-K through third grade. And then I moved into special education as a school special ed facilitator and a resource teacher at a charter here in Erie. And then when Soaring Heights opened up, my passion is the kids I teach currently with center-based, so I moved over here. I have a background actually in business, so I worked 10 years in business before I became a teacher. I have 2 masters. I have one in literacy, and I have one I just completed this fall in autism. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm one that I always lifelong learner. So what I wanted to kind of talk about is our structure here at Soaring Heights, what we do to include the kids in our programs, and what you can do as parents to make our environment and culture here more inclusive as well. So we have different layers of programming for special education. We have resource, which is students that just need that little extra boost. Our resource teachers here are Chelsea McBride, Maureen Michaels in elementary, and then Jackie Yeager and Anthony Pope in middle school. And they also have a para team that supports, we have a para team in elementary that supports those kids. Most of the students are in class. A lot of students wouldn't know. That's kind of the cool thing about resources. You can go in and support a group of students while you're supporting your students that you're also serving. Then we have what we call specialized programming, which is our effective needs, which is in middle school and in elementary. Our teacher in elementary is Taylor Gasser, and our teacher in middle school is Sarah White. And those programs are for students that just need a little bit more support when it comes to emotional and social type issues. A lot of those students have had a background of trauma or something that's been going on. And our goal in those programs are to support the students when they need that break from the Gen Ed classroom, but we want them in Gen Ed. And that's kind of the focus of those 2 programs, is the less time in the specialized classroom, the better. Then we have significant support needs, which is where I'm at in elementary, and we also have a middle school program. And my counterpart is Dioko Uchi. And what we do in our programs is I serve kids with multiple needs. Some might have cognitive, some might have physical. Currently, I have a pretty significant group where most of them do have physical disabilities. So my goal of my classroom is to set it up as a classroom. We just do things differently. So one of the ways that I actually reach out to kids in elementary is when I have students that are in a Gen Ed class, I invite that class to my classroom for an open house. And when they walk in, it's so funny to hear them because they're like, oh my goodness, this is like our classroom. Look, they have this, they have this. And then I'll have swings. I have different things for sensory and PT needs. And so when the kids come in, we talk about my classroom. I normally do a book about just, it's okay to be different, or what does it mean to be you? The differences are great, just things like that. And then we talk about our daily schedule, which I do academics just like everybody else. And then we talk about our students and what they need. And I normally will have them try to use a talker. Most of my students use what we call AAC. It's Augmentative Alternative Communication. And 4 of my students use their eyes, and 1 uses touch. So what that means is that they have to focus on pictures to communicate. So I'll have the students try that, and that's been a huge empathy piece for the students, because they're seeing how hard it can be, and it's totally eye-opening to them. Ms. Kopatz has 2 of my students, and we push in during a reading time, and the kids will read to my students, and one will comment. He's told one of the girls that the story she was reading was boring. I mean, it's funny, they communicate, they do everything like everybody else, just in a different way. So when we are looking at like the inclusion piece of the school, we are going to be doing unified basketball in middle school in the spring through the district. They'll start in April. I'll start like kind of campaigning for it in March. We have done where we went around and middle school helped us and we made like little things for each holiday. We haven't done it since January because my caseload's increased a little bit, so that's been a challenge, but we're going to get that back started. I did do a coffee cart the first year. That was really great, and then COVID hit, and we haven't really been able to get that back going just due to a lot of different things. I try to make the garden a place where we can be partners with the students, the gen ed population as well. We do, as well as a district, have a brain steps team. So if you ever had somebody that had a brain injury or something like that, we do have that. I'm actually a member of that. So there's resources out there as far as just special ed in the district and what we do. For kids, the biggest thing that I say to encourage is ask questions. And I let the kids ask questions and answers when they come in, because like I have kids that eat through their stomach. That's really weird. And I will tell you, the first time a parent told me they wanted me to do it in the cafeteria, I thought they were crazy because I had never done it myself. Well, then once I started doing it, I was like, this is no big deal. And I would have kids come up to me and be like, what are you doing? And so we would explain why the student ate, we had to do it that way. Having them say hello. I mean, my students might not say hello back, but the smile and the reaction I see is they want to be included. They want to be treated just like everybody else. And I think that's the biggest thing in teaching kids is like, yes, things are going to be different. There's going to be kids in your class that you like something different, or you enjoy different things, or maybe they are more sensitive to sounds or light, and just teaching about those differences and that it's okay. And that's what I tell people when they talk to me. I'm like, just talk to them like they're normal, like they're typical kids, because they are. And that's probably the biggest thing is the heart is to remember, like, everybody wants to be accepted and everybody wants to be considered a part of the community. And you just have to sometimes think, my job is to think outside the box to make that happen for my students. And it can be hard sometimes, and sometimes it can be as easy as adding a stool or, getting a certain chair. So, and with the disabilities that are unseen, the attention, the emotional, it's just having that support and that patience. Because I can tell you, when a student is melting down, they're not comfortable. They're not wanting to do it. They're communicating that something's going on, but they're not doing it to be like just to, be, I don't even know what the word would be. But like, I know that can be scary for classmates when they don't understand that. So just explaining their body processes emotions differently. And that's all it is. It's just each of our bodies are different. Each of us are different. And just making it, trying to normalize that there's not a normal. So that's wonderful. So I didn't know if any of y'all had any questions about like what we do, just in general. Yes?
So can you talk a little bit more about the unified basketball coming up?
Yes. So what we're going to do is there will only be like 2 days that we have games, but they'll have like 3 games each time. And we're going to ask for gen ed peers. And I'm thinking some of our resource students probably could be peers as well to our more need students. So, and it's really cool. We did Unified 2 years ago, and we did it with Special Olympics, but now the district's really been expanding it. So, I don't have all the details off the top of my head. I know that registration will open April 1st, and I'm planning on through March doing some things on snooze so that the students will be able to know. And I do have some, Mr. Custis was going to help me, Miss Uchi will be helping me. So, but it will be open to middle school. So 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Anybody else have any questions? Anybody online have any questions for Mrs. Sasser?
Oh, one more. How much would you say, like, are the teachers supported by teaching everything that you're saying, like in the gen ed classroom?
I would say because we have through and focus, I definitely think that that gives that emotion, that social emotional learning. And I know, like in my case, I try to be a partner with the teachers. I think that I will tell you, I think it's almost there's going to be some people that are more drawn to it than others, but I think that our kids do a good job. I think sometimes it's just letting them know it's okay to ask. So I feel like I have had some great teachers working with me. I've worked with a lot in the last 4 years because I get every grade level, and I do feel like we have a good foundation. I think now it's just building on it. But I do think our teachers, I think they have a good idea like how to and how to be, inclusive. I do think we have warm classrooms.